Alright, we're going to talk about multiplying matrices. And the first thing we have to check to multiply them is what the dimensions of each matrix is. We can see here the first matrix is 1 by 3, and the second matrix we have here is a 3 by 2 matrix. Now, in order to multiply these two matrices together, the two inner dimensions have to match up with one another. Remember, this only is when we're multiplying, though, not when we're adding or subtracting. Since they match up, we're going to be able to multiply these two matrices together, since they're both 3. Now, as a reminder, the way we multiply matrices is from row to column. So we're going to take the row in the first matrix and the columns in the second matrix, and we're going to multiply them together. And then after we multiply, we have to add them up. So remember, you go from row to column, and then you add them up. That's the way we multiply matrices. So the first thing we're going to have to multiply in this example is the first entry in the first matrix, the second entry in the second matrix. Now, we figure out the dimensions of our matrix by looking at the two outer dimensions. So we have one row in our first matrix, and we multiplying the two columns in our second matrix. So that means our final answer matrix is going to have one row and two columns. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start multiplying. First we're going to multiply the 3 to the 4. And when we multiply 3 to 4, that's going to give us what value? Take a second to think about it. It's going to give us 12. Alright, and then we're going to follow the same process with the other numbers. 8 times 2, and then again negative 2 times 0. And then after we multiply them, we add them all up. So 12 plus 16 plus 0 gives us 28. And we just combined our first row with our first column, so that the answer we're going to get is going to be our first row, first column answer. So that's where the 28 goes. Now we've done the process once, we have to repeat that process for every combination of row and column. So we now have to do it with our first row and now the second column in our second matrix. So we're going to do the exact same procedure. 3 times 7, that gives us 21. 8 times negative 1, that gives us negative 8. And then again, negative 2 times 4 gives us positive 8. And again, we add them all together. So take a second, think about it. Final answer is 21. So the first row and the second column entry in our matrix is going to be 21. Alright, now we're going to try another example problem. So take a second, you can pause the video now if you like, before we get started. First we find the dimensions to make sure that they match up so we can multiply them together. And then we're going to multiply the first row to the first column. But we need to know what our dimensions are for our new matrix. Remember, we figure out the dimensions by using the two outer numbers. So it's going to have 2 rows and 2 columns. And then we go ahead and we multiply. We do 1 times negative 8, that's negative 8. Negative 4 times 7, it's going to give us negative 28, I believe. Yeah, and then we add the two together. It's negative 36. And that answer is going to go in the first row in the first column. Now again, we have to repeat this process for every row and column combination. So we're going to do the first row again with the second column now. So 1 times 4, that's 4, and then negative 4 times negative 6 is 24. We add them up, we get 28. And that's going to go in our first row, second column entry. It's going to be right there next to the negative 36. Now we have to look at our second row. And we'll combine the second row with the first column. So 2 times negative 8, that's negative 16, and 0 times 7 is 0. Add them up, you get negative 16. And again, second row, first column, there you go, negative 16. And now again, we're going to have to combine the second row now with the second column. So we're going to do 2 times 4, which is 8, and then 0 times negative 6 is 0. Add them together. 8 plus 0, that's pretty straightforward. It's just 8, and there's our last entry, and now we're all done. Good work, guys.